we call ourselves at 3A's. Always leading with academics. I always like to throw athletics second and then arts third.
Okay.
Whoever wants to say it, we always start with academics. Academics always comes first and foremost here within our organization. Success isn't built overnight.
Right.
You got to go through the trenches. You got to go through the mud. It's and some people just aren't built for that, right? They want to quit and you want to break early. But if you have a core, if your core values in life, whatever those are for you and your family, and you stick to a small little circle and not worry about all the naysayers on the outside trying to shoot you down, put you down, you'll find success. But it's how far can you go before your mind gets broke? The downs only last for so long before you get back up. The outside naysayers, they tell you how to run a business, but they've never been in the business. We've had to let people go. And I always tell people, like, I've never fired anyone in my life. The people fire themselves. And I'm the guy that's got to deliver the message. Yo, this is what you did. This is what you did. This is what you did. You can't be here. Our seniors going in to be freshmen at school, wherever they're playing, University of Maryland, Xavier, for instance, for some of our kids this year, they're going to be ready. When they step on that court as a freshman, they're not going to be coming off the bench. They're going to know, like, hey, I've gone through the grind. I know what the 6 a.m.s look like. I know what the 1:30s look like. I know what the 6 p.m. look like.
This started out at a church and 29 people. And now we've got more 5 stars than most colleges in the country. Hey everybody, welcome back to The Blueprint. Today I've got Zyzick Owens on. This dude has a school that is literally pumping out athletes like a factory. Can't wait for him to tell his story. Stay tuned. He's got so much to tell us about how you can be involved or how you can hear about what he's doing. But also, if you guys can do me a favor and just subscribe, that would really help us get more of these stories out. And stay tuned. Zyzick, my man, how are you today?
Feeling good, man. Super solid.
Where are you currently located at? I got you virtually today. I don't have you in-house, so I'm just wondering where you're sitting at.
I'm sitting in beautiful, sunny Chandler, Arizona. We'd love to get down to Texas, but maybe next time we'll make it down there.
Yeah, it's we've had a little bit of ups and downs. We had some cool weather here lately, so I'll call you when it gets back warm again. But
absolutely,
yeah. Well, cool. Zyzick, could you just tell me a little bit about? I called it the Athlete Factory, but tell us a little bit more about your school and everything that you're involved in and what you're doing.
Yeah, nice. Once again, thanks again for having me on. Excited to talk to you and share a little bit about what we do here at Skyline Education. So Skyline Education is our charter management company. We've been around for about 25, going on 26 years. And we have 7 charter schools under that umbrella. And I want to kind of just discuss probably a little about AZ Compass, what we're out here today. And AZ Compass has been doing it since 2009. And we've built a really, really dominant basketball program. But we've also kind of expanded a little bit to football, baseball, and also working on soccer right now.
Yeah, I met you with some friends. We were down at the Waste Management Open. Just happened to run into you, man. We kind of kicked it off and became fast friends after that. So, I had no idea what you were doing. You told me you were involved in, athletes in schools and things like that. But to see the growth that you guys have had through social media is what I've been watching. I was like, man, I got to reach out to this guy and get him on my podcast because I see him all over the country at these different games and I see like these athletes that he's with, and there's ones that have gone on to be professional athletes and top tier athletes and it's really cool. So I was like, man, I want to get him on here to tell the story. And so when it comes to, A to Z, like who's in this? Is this, kindergarten through 12th? Is this after high school? Like what's this about?
Yeah. So the schools are K through 12. We actually even have 2 private preschools for 3 and 5-year-olds. And so we really, really start them very, very young. And not everyone that goes to the AZ Compass or any of our other affiliate charter schools happen to be involved in sports, right? We're very high academic school and also an arts program as well. Different kind of music, different kind of plays, theater, all that kind of stuff as well. But we call ourselves the 3A's. Always leading with academics. I always like to throw athletics second and then arts third. Whoever wants to say it, we always start with academics. Academics always comes first and foremost here within our organization.
Very cool. Well, I'll tell you right now, me being a painter, I'm going to see if we can get arts up that list a little bit.
Hey, I need you over here for sure. Bring in for class.
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely.
So how does someone become involved in a school like yours? Is this like, hey, I was excelling at something in my school, I was at a public school, and I was just not getting the growth that I needed to get, or it's someone who was playing a sport that they were just overachieving and they needed to play against better competition? Or is this people that are really trying to set their goals at, like a long-term goal of like, I need to make it to a certain level?
Honestly, it's a school for all the above, right? You hit it right on the nail right on the head. That's why we like to consider ourselves a developmental school as well, right?
Yeah.
We focus very, very highly on the skills development. We have a few pro trainers that work for us on staff that have known the game from a young age and knows how to work with young individuals. But then you also need to work with that high level caliber student athlete. And so it's a little bit of everything. We have rec stuff involved here at AZ Compass. We also have different levels of basketball that's going all the way down from elementary school stuff to JV to multiple varsity teams. Great girls national program and a girls varsity team as well. And so it's a little bit of everything for everybody.
Okay. And so like I was saying, like if someone said they pick themselves out or you help facilitate them coming to your school?
It's very great question. Great question. It's a little bit of both, right? At this point where we're at right now and where we've gotten to is a lot of people will find us and hit us up, whether it's Instagram, whether it's through an AU coach, whether it's through a college or university that has a kid that wants to play some here. We're able to be found. And at the same time, we do a lot of recruiting on the different circuits. Obviously, we're a Nike elite school. And so we're always on the Nike EYBL circuit, trying to find more kids. But we also, travel to other different circuits to check out kids that might want to come here. Or we might get a hit on a kid like, hey, this kid's could be a top potential lottery pick. This kid's a 5-star who needs a little bit of help. The school he's at is just start producing the skill level that we need to really get this kid to go to. And so, we hear all the way from agents to guys that work in the NBA that know a kid that or have their eyes on them, and guys from overseas will find us a lot as well, and they'll come over and want to be part of the program. Because our skill development is really we hone in on getting these kids better, right? You want to be able to know how to read angles, understand a defensive concept, and so that's where our coaches are really, really good at providing these kids here.
Yeah, I hear a lot of times. I mean, you're basically teaching them the same way someone would learn in the classroom. You're teaching them, hey, these are the formulas that it takes to kind of break down a defense or the offense. Like I hear all the time, like, Lucas sees the court better than anybody, or blah blah blah, and they see things ahead of people, and it's right. Because of the teachings and that someone's put into them. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. It's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
And I think we as an organization have gone out and found the right people to work for us. Like for us, it's like our organization doesn't have the success unless it's the people that's behind it, right? I'm a small part of this organization. My title might say something different. I'm just like every one of these guys here. I'm here to work. I'm here to build. I want to see a lot of success, and it all comes back to the number one thing is the kids. If these kids aren't successful, what are we here doing it for? And so we want to make sure we're really creating positive an environment for these kids to be around and have all kinds of access to all kinds of different tools to make them successful in life.
All right. Well, I mean, I think, that was a little synopsis of kind of what your school's about, and I want to get back to that here in just a little bit. Honestly, this story's about inspiration and people making it to do things like what you're doing, right? And so if we could just kind of rewind it all the way back to the beginning, like, where is Zyzick from? And kind of talk about too, like, Zyzick's a very unique name. Where did that come from? And is that a family name or what is that?
Absolutely. So Zyzick is definitely a family name, and it really starts with my mom.
Okay.
It's a crazy story. I sometimes don't like sharing it, but you're my boy. I got to tell you the truth. So if you ever live in California, drive from LA to Vegas, there's a street on there, ZZYYXX, Zyzick's. And so she was just creative in her mind thinking and came up with it that way. And so that's how the name originated.
Okay.
And so it's kind of a funny story. Don't share it the whole lot, but people do ask quite a bit, and it's very, very interested and creative. And I think I got a very good creative background as well.
Is that where she was from, or she just loved the area, or what was that?
She was from Southern California.
Okay.
Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
We moved quite a bit at a young age. Moved to Oregon for a little bit, Salem, Oregon.
Okay.
Lived there through junior high, and then moved to Seattle for a little bit. She was running these technical institute colleges, and she was doing a fantastic job. My dad left us when I was around 8 years old. Had his issues with drugs and couldn't get clean and so forth. But my mom knew that she would take her kids, myself and my sister, and put us in a great spot, great home. Lived with my grandparents for a little bit. They lived right next to us.
Mm-hmm.
My mom bought her home in Oregon. They bought a house right next to her. And so they all transplanted from Southern California to Oregon. Major difference, right? I mean, the amount of rain was crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it because I learned how to snowboard. I grew up on the mountains up there, Mount Bachelor, Mount Hood.
Uh-huh.
Had a lot of fun doing that. And it helped create, the man I am today.
Yeah.
I just learned that kind of stuff at a young age.
Yeah. Are you very outdoorsy?
I'd say like, I'm definitely outdoorsy. I like it, but I'm not like constantly outdoors. You know what I'm saying? I can adapt to it. I love being outdoors.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of hunting here sometimes with some of my friends out here.
That's cool.
And I like to snowboard. I like to be on the beach, that kind of stuff. So that's
Is your sister older or younger than you?
She's younger.
Okay. And how much younger was she?
2 years younger.
2 years younger. Did you find yourself as you guys were growing up? Were you the alpha at the house, watching over everybody? And
definitely was. And my sister had a very, very strong personality and a hard right hook. But it's super solid, and even to this day, we're very, very close.
Okay. You guys live in the same area now?
Yeah, we're about 15 minutes away from each other.
Oh, very cool.
And she grew up working in the education system here with us as we built this thing out, and so it's been fun working with her as well.
So as you're growing up through elementary school and you got into middle school, you were in sports at this time?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I grew up very, very young, playing a lot of baseball actually. I was more of a baseball guy rather than basketball. And I also play football as well.
What positions?
In football, wide receiver, quarterback. Baseball, played a little second base. I got my nose broken as a senior in high school, and had to show up to prom with a broken nose and laces across the flange here.
Did you get a bad hop?
Bad hop from the catcher down to second.
Oh man.
Yeah, split that thing open, but it's all good. Still look good in my prom photos.
That's awesome. So when you were going into school and you decided that you wanted to, was there an issue that you feel like you didn't get enough support through the schools and through your growth? Was that kind of the seed for this?
No, I mean the seed from is where I think we kind of skipped the part is my mom was the founder.
Okay,
and so as she continued to build all these technical colleges all the way in Oregon and also Washington. That's what brought us back down to Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2000, 1999, 98, there was a big wave of charter schools getting built out here.
Okay.
And as my mom being a single mom, she was making $40,000 a year. And at that point, it was me and my sister still in high school. I thought we were rich. You know what I'm saying? She had a nice condo over here, not too far from where my company is at right now. Mm-hmm. But she had this vision, had this dream out. She wanted to help kids and get them educated and do it in a different kind of way, different from a traditional big public school, So she started her school in a church where she rented a couple of rooms for. I think she had about 25 to 28 kids in that school, and she was just running it. And then once I got out of high school, a little bit, I kind of actually she put me to work there as a security guard, which is funny, right? I was just like, I can't believe it, but it helped me. You know what I'm saying? It helped me understand business and how to really build a business. And she just continued to build this thing up and get it a lot bigger. So
starting out from a church, you're renting a couple of rooms. got 28 kids. And how long did it take you to get to 28 kids?
It took a full year, a full year
wow.
of just, and literally I'm talking about canvassing a lot of movie theater parking lots on a Friday night, trying to hit as many cars as we could possibly hit to let them
Okay.
know where we're at, who we were.
Passing out flyers? Is this word of mouth, or what are you doing?
Passing out flyers, word of mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it was so new, people didn't know what it was, and then that started working. It started. We get through another year go bigger, or another year go by, and we get more kids in the school, and then that's how we kind of just grew the thing and built it up.
Okay, so you outgrew the church obviously in the first year or two, or how many years before you had to find a new facility?
We were there 2 years, and then after 2 years, we found literally like a strip mall parking lot that had a couple. It was a brand new office facilities that we were able to kind of transform, make it into a school. And so right then we probably had around 97 kids, 110.
Wow.
So we grew it.
Wow, that's crazy. So it was a couple years to get out. First year you had 28 kids. Within a couple years you had 97. Like, I mean, part of that is not just being good at your job. Part of that is being a good salesman too, right?
For sure.
I mean,
for sure.
And just beating the streets. Like, a lot of people will come into this thing and they'll think, hey man, I'm good at what I do. And if I'm just good at what I do, things will come. And partly sometimes they will. It's a long growth period though, right? Like, people have to hear from one at a time, interactions with people.
My thing is that there's no quick access or quick success isn't built overnight.
Right.
You got to go through the trenches. You got to go through the mud. It's and some people just aren't built for that. Right. They want to quit, and you want to break early. But if you have a core, if your core values in life, whatever those are for you and your family, and you stick to a small little circle and not worry about all the naysayers on the outside trying to shoot you down, put you down, you'll find success. But it's how far can you go before your mind gets broke, and so it's really just it's having positive people around you, great mentors, and watching yourself go through the ups and downs, and knowing that the downs only last for so long before you get back up.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, if you think about you and your mom and your sister, kind of being out there by yourself, and then hearing about a lot of schools popping up in a certain area, and you're like, well, I can do that. Like, that takes a lot of leap of faith and belief in yourself, right? To kind of pick yourself up and take yourself across country and say, you know what, I'm never done this before. I've got two dependents on me that rely on me for everything. I've got no support on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Where do I go? And a lot of people would give up at that point. And then to hear, not only are you going to get to that point, but you're going to jump over cross country, find a church that's going to support your mission, and then all of a sudden get out into parking lots and start selling individuals. I mean, because honestly, that sounds kind of crazy to me. Like, that can be like, the guy trying to wash my car when I'm trying to get him out of here, when I'm stopped at a stoplight, and you're like, no, we've got a school, I promise, and it's like,
How do you think I felt? No, I'm dead serious when I say that. Because I realize this too. This is my mom's vision at this point. I'm fresh out of high school, right? And so I'm a high school kid. I got my mom telling me I got to go flyer cars in a parking lot when you see the next hot girl walking through with her boyfriend or whatever it is, going to the movies, getting popcorn. But I'm out here flyering cars to make sure that we're able to eat, on the next paychecks. And so you really get humbled real quick, and it's that's why I say it's the people who work for you that make the success of your business.
Yeah. I mean, and kudos to your mom too, man. Like, that's that kind of drive and that kind of vision. And then that kind of, like, I don't know, gumption, I guess is the word for it, to be able to just, say that I'm going to do this. And I believe so fully in what I'm doing and the vision that I have. Yeah. That I'm risking it all, and
absolutely.
And that risk it all mentality plays so well into a lot of growth for a lot of companies and a lot of people that you see do well. They believe in themselves and they put everything on the line, right? And that's how know someone's going to fight for it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. I'd love to hear how that thing started off. But, you got to the strip mall. Like, what did you guys do? Like, besides, finding more space and making it a cool internal, how did you start to be presented seriously to the world from people that are just driving by? Like, were you putting signs on your buildings? Were you making this thing look more professional? Did you have a aha moment of, man, this really needs to look like a school now, not like a hidden room in the back where you actually can learn?
For sure. I mean, it's like you said, all the above on that. But we were in the strip mall. I was probably in the strip mall there with them about a year. And then after that, I decided I wanted to leave for LA. And so I left for LA and went to design school. I enrolled at FITM, Fashion Institute Design Merchandise out there, got my degree out there, and built a clothing company. So I hate to like go back and forth and hop all over the place.
No, that's
Like,
perfect.
I was still young, right? And that was my mom's vision. And so she kept building it, kept running it, and it kind of stayed at a certain level where she was able to expand it. Built another campus in another city called Peoria, about 45 minutes from where we're located right there. And so then now she's sitting at 2 brick and mortar schools by themselves. The Fashion Institute was awesome out there. Worked for a great company, one called Ice Bar, the other one called Critic. I had a really, really cool, interesting partner. Today, some people might know him. His name's the Food God. He's got a big Instagram following on Instagram. And it was his idea with this create that name Critic. But as we were selling Nordstrom's, Bloomingdale's, Macy's, all the high-end boutiques all around the world, not just the U.S., and it came to be 2009, recession hit, everything crashed. And I was like, yo, people aren't paying their bills. So now here I am stuck again at a little older age, but not being able to make enough money to support myself out there in LA. So we broke off and shut that thing down. Then I came back in 2009 to help my mom continue, her vision. And as I came back in 2009, my whole thought process on here was like, yo, I'm going to stick here for a year. I'm going to get back into clothing. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I love style, I love creativity. And then a year passed, and then another year passed. And like, I don't think I'm going to be moving back there. And so I just hunkered down out here and just like, all right, let's start building this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then as I built this thing, my best friend, Swin Anderson, was on the board for our school. My mom knew Swin very well, comes from a very high real estate background. And so with this real estate background, she wanted him to help out because she was about to build another facility with a guy that, was trying to pull the wool over her eyes on the financing and all this stuff. And, she already put out a bunch of money for down payments and to secure land and all that stuff. But at the same time, something just wasn't right. And so Swin was able to come in and help out and get us back on track as far as the real estate goes. And long story short, he's now taken over and he's the president of our company.
Man, okay.
So
man, that's really cool. You guys have kind of kept it close knit from the get, right? It's like the people you kind of came up with are the ones you kind of built with.
Correct. Yeah.
Do you feel like that's a big part of this? Do you feel like is it a loyalty thing? Is it a trust thing? Like why is that?
It's like I say again, it's all the above, right? It's all the above. It's kind of cliche to say this, and I always say this, like, as we'll get more into this a little bit later, but when we built the basketball program, my thing was like, yo, let's keep our, like you said, like, I didn't go to college to play basketball. I didn't go to college to play any professional Division I sport. But what I was really good at is leading people and getting people to believe in the vision of what we want to do and what was next. And if you stuck together, we'd be all right. And so when I say it's cliche, it's like, my whole thing was like, let's keep the circle small, right? And go through it together. And so, with the basketball part, there's my head coach and current head coach right now. He wasn't even the head coach when he first got here. He worked in the classroom, working with younger students and stuff like that as an aide. But I knew his background came from a high level prep school in Nevada called Finley Prep, and he had different pros like Rashad Vaughn, Kelly Oubre, and stuff like that. But he believed in what the vision was, and the vision was to take this school here when I got back and find a niche. And what can we do to increase the enrollment? Right? If we're able to increase the enrollment, we're able to travel more. We're able to get nicer things for the kids in school. Whether if the enrollment goes up, you're getting better books, better Chromebooks, just all kinds of different things that go along with academics and also help the sports program. And so our main goal was, let's get this enrollment cranked up so we can start doing a little bit better. And so that's kind of how we did it. We got the enrollment cranked up, and we had another coach on here. His name's Ed Gibson. Ed Gibson was a pioneer. He helped build this program from the bottom when we first created this thing in 2018. He's now moved on. He's in his third year at San Jose State as an assistant coach, right? That's another thing I'm super proud about, is we're able to produce some of these coaches that come here. They don't go on to work in another high school. They go on to work at Division I colleges. You know, I have a feeling that at some point, Ed and a couple of my other coaches, Jeremy Pope, have a really good opportunity to probably go work in the NBA.
You know, that's funny. Like I hear you talk a lot about, you know, the preparation of the athlete that's coming through and the coaches you're picking and where they're from and the type of people you're looking for. But in the classroom, because you said this is a full accredited school that, you know, your academics first. Does mom pick the teachers and you pick the coaches, or like how does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, well, like she definitely does all on all the academic side. When we were coming up and dealt with all the teachers, all the principals, all the leadership kind of stuff. That was her lane. You didn't mess with it, you know. And then she also did a lot on the arts because she was an artist herself. And so she dealt with that, and then she kind of let myself and my partners work on the sports part of it. So that's kind of really how it worked. And obviously, even to this day, I don't oversee the academics. Swin does, my partner, and he has different individuals, great individuals that have been working here a long time that help do the education part of it. So we've promoted principals up to, you know, vice presidents of education and stuff like that have been through what the school's about and what it means and the culture that we have built here.
And so you went from the strip mall, you know, where you were at then, right? And so, and 197 students or something like that, right? And what was the growth pattern from that? What was the next step that came outside of that?
Yeah, the next step was to secure bonds and find money to raise money so we're able to, you know, build more schools because the enrollment was starting to get to a point where we're at capacity. And so once we're at capacity, you know, the bondholders want to make sure that you're able to fulfill your bond and cover your payments. And so we were able to do that by showing all our you know, financials and all that kind of stuff, and get that all dialed in. And then we went out and found land and bought another school, and actually and then bought another school. And so really just came from just keeping these things packed at capacity. Right. And then that's what kind of helped our growth, and just watching the growth, right? You don't want to grow too fast and too quick. Even though I'm telling you, the outside naysayers, they tell you how to run a business, but they've never been in the business.
Right.
It drives me nuts. Yeah. You know, I'm able to zone that stuff out and just understand, like, if you believe in your team, go the trench with your team. Obviously, listen to your mentors, and you find good people in the finance industry that's kind of helped us build these schools. Get us to where we need to go. You know, Dave Sellers. You know Dave Sellers. He was one of the guys that actually first took his first shot on us when his dad was still alive.
Wow. Okay.
Him and his dad built one of our first campuses over in South Phoenix, and you know, Dave's had a lot of success as another young guy to really tell the story of, you know, coming up.
Yeah, I got to get him on the list to tell the story as well. So
absolutely.
All right. So at this whole time, like, even at these young levels or early levels of 28 kids, 29 kids, 97 kids, 197 kids, at this level, are you focused on sports at this point, or is this all education to this point?
At this point, it's really just all education. Right. You know, it's definitely all education. And then you know, we hit a snag at one of our facilities, our third facility we built. It was probably too big, and that it was too big for what we thought we could put in there as far as kids go, right? And so we need to come up with some kind of hook. We had a football field, awesome. We had a gym, awesome. Football team takes 45 kids. You got to outfit them in pads, helmets, everything like that. High risk of injury. Basketball, 10 to 12 kids per team, right? And this is when we first starting. Let's just go with the lower risk, higher rate. And so that's how come basketball got picked up.
That's crazy. It was a financial look at what was easier to get started. That's crazy.
It's exactly right. No one really knows that story, and that's the truth. Like what can we afford right now before the doors could possibly close on us, right? Even though we have success, we have kids, you still got a big facility with a big note on it. You got to pay every month, right? Or else they can come in and take it. So you got to make sure your financials are always intact and in the right spot. So we're able to build a basketball program and start with just getting kids in and really just ramping it up. And that was
what year? Go ahead.
Cool. Now, I was in 2017 going into 18. That's when it first started. Wow. And my thing was like, when we first did this thing, it's like I told my partner Swin, is that we got to get kids in. And I was telling the coaches, just get kids that can dunk. I don't care what their grades are. Just get them in, they can dunk. So I'm talking today, Brandon, I still get made fun of by some of the coaches. Like, oh, don't worry about Zy. If this kid can dunk, he can play here.
and tell me why that is. Why did you want somebody that could dunk?
Because it's back then too. It was the era of mixtapes and getting the stuff out on social media, build your brand, build your name. And if we can cover these kids dunking and playing at a high level, other kids are going to want to follow and see what's going on.
You wanted the aha moment or the wow moment that kind of got everybody to cheer or holler in a game. You wanted to grab those highlights, not the fundamentals. You wanted to grab those highlights and build off those highlights because that got you exposure.
It got me exposure. That's exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for the exposure, and it worked. You know what I'm saying? And then we took that model. Like some of these kids that first started with us, thank God we had one kid in that group that was a Division I athlete, but the rest were JUCOs. Kids' grades were terrible. They can't even qualify for NCAA. And so they had to go to JUCO. And so we got that thing going for about 2 more years, trying to build the hype. And then I got to a point, I was like, you know what? Let's make this top team only Division I athletes. And so every kid since 2021 has graduated from that team and gone Division I. So that's a pretty remarkable and amazing thing to happen. I think we've put a total of 94 Division I athletes in school over the last 9 years. And that includes girls as well.
The funny thing is that you just said, like, hey, get guys that can dunk. And then it's like, yeah, that's cool. I'm building this thing up so I can get some social. But second to that is, you know what? I'm going to do a whole nother one. It's just division athletes. Now, anybody can say, let's just get division athletes and let's move forward. Division I athletes, sorry. And let's move forward with that and build a program on with that. But now going and finding kids that actually fit that mold that still want to go to your school, there's so many levels to making that thing happen. And you just said, hey, let's just go do it.
Yeah.
How do you go source these guys now? It's not like I say, hey man, I want to go get, major leaguers and build my softball team. It's like, you can't just, think it up. Like what were the steps to making that happen?
The steps were to find a really, really good recruiter. And that recruiter was Pete Caffey, and Pete's still with me to this day. That's my brother, my family. He's now our head coach and program director. And he was the guy that was able to get out there and talk and sell the story. Right. I sold him on what I wanted to do here. He believed in me. And now it's his turn to it's my turn to believe in him and sell the story and getting these kids in here. And he did a fantastic job. He's from Minneapolis, and he went and found a kid named Booth Gotch. Booth is currently playing overseas. He went to University of Utah. I got a little small cup of coffee with Orlando Magic, but he's still playing overseas to this day. Making a lot of money, and he believed in us, took that one shot. I'll never forget this, Brand. Pete called me and goes, all right, this kid's flying out. He got himself a ticket. He's coming out. He'll be here tomorrow. And then we had a phone call later on that night. He goes, hey, his brother took him to the airport. He's backing out. He's not coming. I said, Pete, you do whatever you got to do to get this kid on this flight. Don't do this to me. I think that's our first Division I athlete.
Yeah.
And he got him here the next day, and the rest is history. Like to this day, Booth is still family to us.
That's awesome. You break that mold of like, it just takes one, you know what I mean? It just takes one to prove it, and so building a model based upon using that guy's name of, hey, we got this guy here, look what he's done, and so you can show everybody that we have the ability to level something up just by taking a risk on one or taking a loss on one and proving the theory, right?
Correct. And I'm telling you right now, like obviously, like to this day, like right now, we're ranked number 5 in the nation. And it in for our top team right now, and it's pretty amazing, right? I think we're in week 14 right now, but when we first built this thing, we took lumps. I'm talking lumps. Like we'd go out, we'd drive out, spend every dollar we could have that we could raise as fundraising money goes, and get a hotel for 1 or 2 nights max. We're definitely not staying over 2 nights because we didn't have the money or the budget. We'd take school lunch from here, pack it in coolers, get in our vans, and drive one van out to Las Vegas. That's like one of the closest states we can go play some out-of-state competition from. I drive my own personal vehicle. He'd drive his own personal vehicle just to make sure we could get these kids there and have a good trip. But then you're playing against other top prep programs at the time. And these guys would take us on, no problem. Yeah, these guys are nobodies, right? We can thump on them, no problem. But it helped us. It helped us with the recruiting, right? Because we were go out, play these top prep programs. We get thumped. We hang with them maybe the first half. And then after that, it was downhill. There's no way. We get beat by 15, 20, 25, 30 points. But it was still the experience, right? And we're still selling the experience to these kids. And we're able to get film for these kids that are playing against other top kids. And, like I said, just take one kid to get these kids going in Division I. And like I said, the first few years wasn't only Division I. We had Division II kids. And some of those kids that really stepped up and didn't know what they were getting themselves into those first few years, I love them for death. This place wouldn't be them without them. They took the opportunity, took the chance on us. Now we got kids that didn't quite make Division I or something like that, but they're out making big money in real estate development, all kinds of stuff. And they still see what's going on. They come back and talk to these kids, and they'll donate back to the program to help this thing go because, hey, those kids thought they were really, really good at the time. They don't really see what it is now. And it's a excitement of love to like, yo, this is where I came from. This is where I was born. This is where I was made at when it comes to sports. And so now it's just kind of, it's a snowball that is just kind of really rolling in the right direction for us. And it's been a lot of fun.
That's crazy. I mean, honestly, like the forging that you're talking about there of going through the process of, a lot of people are trying to find people of their own caliber to measure themselves against. And you guys were like, that's not where we want to be. So let's not go play people who are just like where we're at. We want to go play people who are where we want to be.
Correct.
Yeah, we're going to get punched in the face a lot. Yeah. But guess what? This is who you want to be. This is the standard. This is the mark. Now you'll know. Let's also the same aspect of like the dunking kid, right? Show me the highlights. Well, now I've got a highlight of my kid versus your top tier kid because we stepped in the same realm, right?
Exactly right. And it helped us. It helped us tremendously, and it got these kids ready to where they're at today. So,
have you seen there's a painting or an illustration? It's like it's a goldfish, and it has a shark fin strapped onto the back of it.
Yeah.
And it says, "Fake it till you make it." Right?
1,000%.
Yeah,
that's so funny. I use that all the time back in the day. No joke. Me and a couple of buddies and just people I work with, just fake it till you make it. And realistically, it's like we were never really faking it. We're just really just trying to make it happen. Make it happen, right? Yeah. And it's an easy way to say it, you're faking it, but like now it really wasn't faking it. We were really living life, getting whooped on. Yeah, but fighting through the struggles, right? That's the hardest part, is fighting the struggles. They suck sometimes. You don't want to go to work. It's going to be tough, but if people fight through those tough times, it makes the brighter times so much better.
Isn't it funny too, as people start to recognize the vision, there's people that want to get on board with people that see the vision with you.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're just a step behind you and they just need to be able to see that vision and see what you're doing. And then they're like, oh, cool, I got this. I see where we're going. And now they're on board. There's always the person that's the opposite too, that can't see that vision, that wants to naysay you, right? That wants to, shovel dirt on top of you because they can't see it. And then when they bail out and you still end up succeeding and they've gone a different direction. Have you had any of those like, hey man, we just got to cut ties. Like you're not going that route.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I wouldn't say a ton of them, but there's definitely a handful of them, right? Definitely a handful of them. And the vision, and I think more like today over the last few years is people see the brand that we've built here, and you think they've come in for the right reasons, but they're not here for the right reasons. They want to eat off that name, AZ Compass, and they want to do their own thing. They think that's the way to do it. That's not the way to do it. And if you want to build your own thing, I'd rather have you come to me and be upfront with me and tell me you want to do it. So I can mentor you and tell you how to do it.
That's cool.
Right. And so, yeah, we've had to let people go. And I always tell people, like, I have never really, I've never fired anyone in my life. Right. The people fire themselves. And I'm the guy that's got to deliver the message. Yo, this is what you did. This is what you did. This is what you did. You can't be here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't fire people. People fire themselves. Because I'll tell you what else is hard for me. Because once that person does get let go, it's got to be my job to figure out who am I replace that person with. I'd rather coach you up to do the right things and give you chance after chance after chance. But sometimes it just doesn't work like that in life because your vision's over here and we're going this way.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot easier to coach up than start from zero, for sure.
So much easier.
Yeah. And people know, you know a little bit about that person. They know a lot about you and your company and what you're going and where your vision is. Correction is so much, is the better approach.
For sure.
But sometimes you got to cut the arm off, right?
You do. And it sucks. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you what, it's better to cut the arm off because you give that person an opportunity to go figure out what they did wrong and hopefully they can fix it. Right. And if I'm letting someone go and it's not something super like detrimental to the point where like I can't bring the guy ever back, I might give someone an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? To come back. I'm not that dude. Right.
Yeah.
But if it's that bad, yeah, you're done for a while and sorry. So I like to work with individuals to make sure that, they have the opportunity. I'm able to coach them up and they see the vision. So.
Well, all right. So now I can see that. Like, and what about as far as athletes go as well? Is there any that you've brought into the fold that just really didn't fit who you were? And you say, you know what, we're going to have to let you go.
Oh, for sure. And that usually happens every single year. Right. This year's been actually pretty solid. And I'm super thankful for that. But, in the past, over the years, there's always a kid that, comes from, maybe somewhere back east where it's dark all the time and you don't get this nice, beautiful sunshine and you can be outside all the time getting into stuff and they come out here and they see like, oh my gosh. And then they go the wrong route instead of staying focused on the main goal. The main goal is to make sure you're out here in the gym, you're working out, you're getting better, you're taking advantage of all the tools and opportunities that we're able to provide you guys as far as your weight training goes, your meal prep, your nutrition, and your skill development, right? And if you're not taking advantage of that and you're more worried about hanging out with the girls or doing whatever you want to do on the side, breaking curfews or doing, that kind of stuff, it's not going to work. And we never just let a kid go just over one fraction. That's not us, because right, we're in the business of coaching. We're in the business of teaching and serving, right? And so a kid's never, just like an employee, never have to fire the kid and never want to kick a kid out unless the kid kicks himself out. And so it sucks sometimes. And I have kids come back and tell us like, man, I should have got it when I was there. Now I see what you're saying. And we're great. You know what I'm saying? And, but yeah, you got to teach kids sometimes the hard way and then just to send them home and let them know like, hey, you can't be here because you don't see the vision and you're going to hurt what we're trying to build here. But
is there a specific type of kid that you're really looking to focus on? And I don't mean how high they can dunk. And I don't mean how athletically gifted they are. And I don't mean what they do in the academics. Is there a little bit of all of that, but is there a certain personality style or a trait or things that you look for to pull away from people as they go to, hey, that's our guy. That's our kind of person. This could be a X, Y, Z for us.
Yeah. So like for our top team, right? A majority of the kids don't live here in Arizona. They live out of state and so forth. And so we'll get on Zoom meetings just like this have our full staff on there, all our coaching staff, our academic staffs, our deans, all that stuff, principal on a call, and we'll kind of vent the kid, and then we'll also vent the family. Make sure it's the right fit, and you can kind of pick up like, are they communicative? Do they talk well, or do they just kind of on the call because the parents want them to be here, but the kid wants to be back at home at his normal local high school because it's easy. I don't want to get out of my comfort zone. So yeah, it's all the time. We're really kind of figure out what kind of personality this kid has, and if we think it'll fit right with this team. And so it starts from the minute we finish the Chipotle Nationals, our main final game of the year. Is to figure out who's the best in the nation. And I'm talking the day after we shut down Chipotle Nationals, we're on the phones, banging the phones, talking to parents, talking to kids to figure out, hey, is this going to be a good fit for you for the following year?
Mm-hmm. And as you're building your programs, are you still expanding now, or do you feel like you've got 4 or 5 teams or whatever? Is it always looking to grow, or do you think, hey, we've got
13 teams?
13 teams
basketball teams all the way from elementary school. Yeah.
So do you want more, or do you think I've got a system here and I just want to get the best of the best inside of that system?
Great question. And that's exactly where we're at. And I'm going to even go back to like when we first built this thing, people wanted to expand. That was not my model. My model was like, let's get this first team that's really, really good, the best they can possibly be, right? Because I don't need to start another team, start a post-grad team, start this team if I can't get this thing organized and dialed up the way I needed to do it. That's when I go back to saying, hey, keep the circle small, focus on being really, really good at what we're really good at, and then we'll start to expand. And that's kind of how we broke out and expanded. And when I say like, we weren't ready, it's like we wanted to expand when we barely had a deal with the shoe company, right? Our first deal with Adidas was really not a deal, It was through a friend of a friend who hooked us up with a partner and was able to get us uniforms. And I'm talking like our numbers were peeling off it, running on the court, couldn't afford to get new uniforms, and it sucked. It was terrible, but that makes the growth and the sacrifice that much more worth it. And so that we're able to switch over, and we got over to Under Armour. And Under Armour really took care of us, man. Great group, great leadership over there, and really believed in us because they saw the vision before really anyone else did. And I was like, oh, these guys know what they're doing. All right, we can work together. They have great leadership in their program. They have great basketball coaches. They got great kids. They're respectful when they're on the road. They're cleaning up their locker rooms. When they leave, they pick up the trash on the benches. It's the small detail things that me as a leader, I make sure to try to really instill in these kids, right? You're a representation of not only yourself, but you're representing that brand on your shirt that you're wearing, and don't trust me when I see this. They see that the name on that backpack. And if you have a kid acting up in an airport, which we travel a lot now these days, they'll send an email to myself or a president or a principal, and they'll get a hold of us and let us know something happened. Right. And so thankfully, it's been a minute since we've got those emails, but we work on it, instilling that kind of discipline and that kind of model. You got to be, people are always watching you. Your name and your brand is too big.
Let me ask you this. As you were talking about all the stuff was falling off your jerseys and, it was outdated or whatever. And so did you reach out to Adidas? Adidas found you? Or was it like...
No, we kind of reached, like I said, it wasn't even really Adidas at that time. We reached out to a friend that was connected with someone from Adidas. And that's how that connection kind of happened. And then we talked to Adidas a little bit, and then we were actually even paying for stuff at the time from Adidas. Okay. And it was nothing great. It was, at least we could match each other. It's probably the worst. Or we have a couple exercises of this. All right, let's hook you guys up. That's what we have. Yeah. That's kind of how that worked. And then, like I said, Under Armour came in, took care of us for a few years, and they did a good job. And then Nike really came in and said, all right, we see what's going on. And they did school tours. They brought executives down to do school tours to see, hey, is this really a school, or is this a pop-up basketball school? No, it's an actual brick and mortar K through 12 school. They wanted to vent that to figure out really what it was, because there's so many programs, and even to this day, that aren't really basketball. They're not actual schools, right? Their schools are attached to some kind of different kind of academic platform, maybe a private school over here. They can outsource the school part and go online, but we have all that in-house here. You have real teachers, you have real academic gains. It's a real school. Counselors, all of that.
When you leveled up from Adidas to Under Armour and then into Nike, like, was that a certain level of like, you now start looking around at your guys internally and you're like, hey, we're starting to get there, right? As were those moments for you where you felt like accomplishment was happening, or you feel like we deserve this? This is who we are. We're punching above our weight, but this is where we're supposed to be.
I never want to say I deserved it, right? Because I just don't. That's not my mindset. I'm not wired like I deserve anything. I don't deserve anything unless I work for it.
Right.
And so I feel like we've worked for it, and that's why we got it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like everything that we have in life and everything that we do is because we work hard at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when some of them, when people don't see, we're here Monday through Friday, but then we also have to leave Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we'll go back to work on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be like that for the next 3 weeks for us. We go to LA this weekend on Friday. We return Sunday, back to work and school on Monday. Fly to Boston on Thursday, out there for Martin Luther King holiday, and then fly back, and then boom, back to school again. There's gonna be no days off, but this is what these kids at this high level are getting ready for. You know, we're the show. We're the show in high school, and that's what these college guys are doing. That's what the NBA guys are doing. They're playing on Christmas. You know what I'm saying? There's no days off like that.
Yeah.
And so all we're doing is really preparing their mind. And I'm super grateful and super thankful that I've seen it. And now I know, like, when we get our freshmen, our seniors going in to be freshmen at school, wherever they're playing, University of Maryland, Xavier, for instance, for some of our kids this year, they're going to be ready when they step on that court as a freshman. They're not going to be coming off the bench. You know, they're going to know, like, hey, I've gone through the grind. I know what the 6 a.m.s look like. I know what the 1:30s look like. I know what the 6 p.m. looks like, going 3 times a day sometimes, depending on what part of the season we're in. And so we really break these kids down and put them in situations. The coach does a fantastic job, Pete Cappy, of really putting these kids in certain plays or something like that when they're on the court, and breaks them down, like, and he'll be the referee and so forth on scrimmages, and presses their buttons and not call a foul, even though it's a foul, and see how they react. Right. Yeah. And so they're in the moment, and then he'll tell them, like, they'll react exactly what we expect them to react. Then we go back and coach them, like, we did this on purpose. We're testing you because being able to do that to a ref when you're playing Spire Academy or Montverde Academy or IMG, you know, you have to fight through it, and our game might be on the line, down 10 points in the fourth quarter. How are you going to react?
Yeah.
So we really test these kids, get these kids prepared.
It's like results from preparation, setting them up for that. The same way you get results from Adidas, Under Armour, Nike from the preparation you guys have done before, right? It's like all the effort, all the setup, all the role play, all the everything you go through to get to the point to where people start to recognize these are the results that come from effort, from composure, from dedication, right?
Correct. It's a lot of it.
Yeah. As you, do you guys have a mantra that you give the kids of, like, hey, this is who we are. This is, you know, how we carry ourselves?
Not really a mantra, and it kind of switches every year. You know, like we did have one, like, we did a docuseries, and it's called Purpose Over Dreams, right? Just really believing in the purpose. So that kind of got the kids going, and cool. We are actually going to be dropping a new docuseries this year. So you're really one of the first ones to know about it. We got a guy that's filming, and so he'll be traveling with us, and it'll be really cool to watch these kids interact. You know, you have 5 stars and 4 stars on the kids. You have kids on the team making a lot of money off the NIL, right? It's just part of the world these days, right? And it's hard. It's not hard for us as a school, but it's if you don't move with the change and find out the right and legal way to do it, you're gonna be left behind.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're always doing, is constantly navigating through those obstacles, because the school down the street, who can also do the same thing that we're doing here, are able to get those kids because they have financial backing or a big donor that was able to put money into these kids' pockets and to help.
Does NIL go all the way down to high school?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the lowest you've seen NIL go down to?
High school only for us.
Wow.
Yeah. High
But in the
school.
industry.
Only thing I know is high school. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I never even thought about that.
I'm sure. I'm sure there's some kind of eighth grader, some kind of seventh grader, or something like that, getting paid, right? But I don't know. I'm not ready for it yet.
No, that's crazy. How does that, honestly, like, I see the benefit comes out of all that, but man, the transfer portal that's out there right now is out of control. There's like 2,000 or something kids inside that this year, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's about catching that bag, right? And so,
Correct.
so how do you deal with that? Like, how do you skirt that? I mean, I didn't even think about asking. This is going to open a whole new door for me now that we've gone into this part of it. But as you guys go into competing with people, it's not even about the service you offer or how good you can make somebody. It's about the bag. So how do you how do you handle that?
Well, thank God, like we've been very, very lucky of handling it without dropping bags like that, because we literally can't. We're school and this just doesn't work. We will sometimes help with kids if they have an agent or need an agent or want to talk to somebody, we'll point them in the direction, but we stay out of that, as far as the school goes. Just it's not our bag. And we'll guide them or put them in contact with another parent that's come through our program that's had to deal with it, and let them talk to that parent, but it's happening all the time. And if you think it's not, you're crazy.
Mm-hmm. And the competition level's got to be huge on that. For you guys to be number 5 in the nation and skirting that pretty well, like, kudos.
Thank you. But like I said, I think it does go back to it. These guys do a really good job of getting these kids developed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Their development when they come off the court. Like, I don't know if you know, but we sent the son pick Jeremiah Fears that went to the New Orleans Pelicans. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He was with us, worked with us as a junior, and he was playing against Cooper Flagg, Derek Queen, and all those guys. They played for Montverde at the time. We'd have major battles with those guys. But he was a junior, and he just got really, really good over that last junior year, and his mindset was just like, I'm a pro. I got to move on. And it's like, all right, well, you believe it. We're going to help you get there. And the only way we can help you get there is help train you the right way and coach the right way. And then, then he wanted to play Nike EYBL basketball over the summer. And no one knows, but he had this plan, and his family worked with my mom on the academic part of it to make sure that he was able to dial in and go to summer school. And so he went to summer school that whole entire time playing EYBL on the circuit, got him right, got his credits right, and he was able to graduate a year early, went to Oklahoma as he should have been an incoming senior. He went as an incoming freshman to college. And so he played that freshman year when he should have been a senior with us, and had a killer's year, and was able to get dialed in and become a lottery pick in the draft last year. And I'm not sure you follow me at all this year, but he's still in the running for Rookie of the Year. He's top 5 for sure.
That's crazy, man. I mean, honestly, those got to be huge success stories for you guys as you start, putting out these types of athletes. And again, like, from dreaming it, making it happen, forcing your way and playing up, like, how do you play up past that? You have to have somebody that turned into a Hall of Famer that's come through your group, right? Like, like the story's coming, like you're putting out all these seeds, and some's going to hit, right?
For sure. I think it will, and that's the reward to us, right? It's not about getting free tickets or, big donations back to the program. It's seeing these kids change their lives, and not even change their lives, it's changed their family lives. And so that to me makes me smile. Like, all right, that's why we did it. And then the best thing for me is when these kids come back and they work out with the kids. When Jeremiah was here playing the Suns a few months ago, came in the gym, was down here working out, doing his thing, and and then went back to his hotel. But like they always come back and give back, because they know, like, hey, or if I'm going through a struggle, I'm struggling a little bit, we'll have kids fly out here. Let me get in that gym. I know that's where I got really, really good at. And I feel like I'm at home. I need to get my shot back. And they'll come out here, fly in for the weekend, stay, get shots up, work with our excellent skill developer, Maurice Riddick, Coach Mo. Love the guy. He's a pro. But they love him, and he does a great job of just building relationships with these kids. And it's not just me. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not me. It's the team around me that makes us as good as we are.
So let's dive into those guys just for a minute.
Yeah.
You guys start bringing in coaches. Like, what are the fundamental choices that you have to make when you go to start finding coaches? Like, what are you specifically? Is it you're a good glue guy, or you got these skins on the wall, or you've played in the pros, or because some of that does have a little bit of draw to it. If you say, hey, so-and-so kid, come over here, you're going to now play for, Dirk Nowitzki or LeBron, and they're going to go, yeah, I'd love to do that. Or I'd love Jason Kidd to coach me, while I'm doing whatever. Right. So is it name, or is it like culture fit?
It's culture fit, and it's definitely a little bit about name too. Are you talking about with the coaches?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So with the coaches, it's like, let's just talk about Maurice Rick real quick for a second. He's got a great little organization called I Play, and he's played a lot of overseas professional basketball, and he loves kids. You can see it in his passion. And when he came to work for us, our other head coach at the time, Ed Gibson, helped bring him in. But he stuck around us for over a year, not getting paid. Just loved to be around the program, because you have people that want to come around the program, that want to stick. They'll stick there for a month, like, oh, I can't do this. This ain't right. And they weed themselves out. But with Maurice, it's like he built himself into this organization. Like his family, his wife was always around too. She was here, just checking on Mo and stepping in, and now she works here at the school too. Her kids go to school here, right? It's a family environment. This campus, AZ Campus, only has about 600 kids on it. So we call it a boutique, right? A lot of these kids are here for their specific sport or their specific art or academics, but the other kids push each other. With mandatory study halls. I don't care if you have straight A's, you're still going to get in there, you're going to do some work for this hour and a half. You got to check in. It's like the kids' grades don't fall. We don't have any issues with kids not being able to get on the court because their grades aren't right. There's too many people put in place with our systems that it's hard to fail out. It's hard to fail. Right. And if you're not failing, and if you are failing, this is probably not the spot for you.
Yeah.
There's too many opportunities that we make sure that you have the opportunity to get the stuff done in the classroom. So,
yeah, you got to get, go ahead.
Sorry, keep going. But then you go back to Coach Mo. He's literally the best skills development basketball coach I've ever worked with and ever seen. He builds these relationships with these kids, not just on the court, but off the court. Right. He works with them on weekends. He talks to them after schools. He'll even jump on the game if he has to, right? He's funny, great human being. Blessed.
Are you involved when it comes to recruiting coaches? Are you doing that yourself? Do you have somebody you lean on for that? Like, what is the curation process going forward with that?
Combination of both. Obviously we come together as a collective staff, right? That currently here, and if we recruit new coaches, we'll bring it to the table. We'll bring them in and have meetings, and so it's kind of a little bit of everybody. And just knowing the personalities that we currently have that work here, we know what we're looking for, right? One of our assistant coaches, Luke Jackson, he was at Fresno State and University of Washington. He had a buddy he met, Titus Shelton. Titus Shelton came to us last year from USC. So we get also Division I coaches that coach for us on this high level team, because sometimes at a prep school like us that has very, very high ranked kids, and we're producing as many pros as we're producing, you might work with more pros in the high school level than you are even at the Division I school. Our track record of producing pros is at a higher rate, than some colleges. So that's the cool part. So that's how we're able to attract some of these college coaches.
Well, that's crazy. I didn't think about that. You guys are producing more professional athletes than a lot of the colleges are?
Yeah, I want to say a lot of them, but a majority of them for sure.
Wow. Okay. Why do you think that is? Because you're prep all the way up through high school, right? And you're saying by the time they get to you guys, you're handing them to top tier schools. You must be
correct.
I got it. Okay.
So basically, like on our team, we could have more than one 5-star. Some of those colleges might only have one 5-star. We have 3 or 4 5-stars. I'm saying 5 stars 1 through 20 in the nation.
This started out at a church and 29 people, and now we've got more 5-stars than most colleges in the country.
Unbelievable, yeah. It's
man,
special.
What a blessing that is. That's really, really cool, man. I'm really proud of you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and just to even bring the culture to where it's at today, and still continue to, you know, build this dream and stay humble and continue to grind, because a lot of people would kind of, you know, sit back in the easy chair, but you want to be, you know, front and center still in the mix on this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Every year I always asked to kind of step away a little bit more and more, you know, so we can continue to build other projects that we have coming up. And I'll tell you one thing, like my other partner back in the day, Ed Gibson, our head coach, when he was here, he had me sitting on the bench with him, right? Get at the end of the bench, watch what's going on with body language, keep me in the game, know what's going on. And so I did that. And then after Ed left to go to San Jose State, Pete stepped in his role and says, "No, you got to stay on that bench. Like, you guys, come on." Like he said, stand. We just more networking with our guys and so forth. But they yet to let me get off that bench. And then another issue, I thought I was going to be off this year. I'm back on the bench again this year. But I got the House twins, Kalick and Caden House.
Okay.
Right. And another senior, Quincy Wadley from the DC area. I was with them last year. And it's hard to let these juniors go that were here. And I know they've had a fantastic year this year. They're all committed to colleges, but I can't let those guys go. And they want me around. And so that's what kind of brings me back to working out on that bench and constantly traveling with them, and, you know, making sure all our travel itineraries set up and dialed in. I'm very anal about making sure that the detail is dialed in to how many flights we have, and make sure that I'm working with the different travel coordinators and stuff like that we know what's going to happen, our itineraries, when study halls are, and all that. And so I've kind of given up some of the roles a little bit this year. I'm trying to step away just because, you know, we have some other opportunities and some plans to continue to build. Yeah, but it's been hard. You know what I'm saying? I love it. It's a passion. I was talking with an individual this morning today, and goes, "You do it because it's a passion." And it's like, sometimes when you love it, you don't even realize it's passion. Even though, is it going to suck to do these next few trips? It's going to suck, but it's going to be a blessing at the same time. You know?
Yeah. The cool thing is that you're building relationships with these kids who turn into something down the line, right? Yeah. You're planting seeds, not just with like what they can do, but the relationships that you're building for success for them, you know, is really cool. You know, and that kind of transitions over to, you know, the way that you've grown this from what it is. I mean, maybe you end up one day, you know, president of Nike, or and then you end up being the GM of the Mavericks or something like that. You know what I mean? And then you make one of the worst trades of all time. But I don't know. We'll see where this goes.
I ain't making that trade.
That was so bananas. That still hurts me to this day. But but we're in a good spot. What do you think about that one?
It's tough. You know what I'm saying? Like you hear like it wasn't his decision. You know, your GM's decision to make that, and it can't. But I'm not sure. You know, there's so much underlying information that we don't know, and that we'll never know. That will probably never make the public knowledge. So all it is speculation. Yeah. You know, I don't think Luka wanted to leave. I think he wanted to be in Dallas. You know, but at the same time, there's other people working behind the scenes that we don't hear about. There's always going to be a fall guy that's going to take the blame for making that call. So.
Oh, you're thinking there's potentially some back end story that somebody was really pushing their way one way or the other, and it just and it came to a head, and they had to pull the trigger.
I think so. I think something like that possibly.
A me or you type scenario.
What do you mean?
Like
yes. Exactly.
Him or me?
Me or you. And then they still get him out of there.
Yeah. And then it ended up being both of us.
So, it's tough. Luke is a dog, though.
He is a dog. We got another dog here now with Cooper Flagg, man. I mean, you know, firsthand, you saw him play. What do you think about him?
Cooper, man, whew. A kid's amazing, and the cool thing, I can say that because I see these kids in high school. This is the game we were at Chipotle Nationals 2 years ago when Jeremiah Cooper going toe to toe with each other. Boom, boom, boom. I'll send you some film and some stuff just to watch these two kids in high school. Montverde had a historical season that year. They didn't lose one game. They ended up winning the national championship. They beat us to get there. Still hurts to this day, but it's basketball.
Yeah.
And we were the only team at halftime to be up on them at halftime that whole entire year. So we were up on them. We were feeling good. Cooper didn't have a good first half. He came back and just shut us down. I was like, this kid is different. And so I'm happy for him. I got to talk to him a few times on the road, just being in the hotels, because when we travel, Nike, he always puts us in the same hotels. We're all Nike schools. And so we're at all the same events and stuff like that. And so I get to talk to his parents and talk to him, and always very, very respectful kid, had a great head on shoulder. His twin, his twin brother too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So his twin brother was also just a great kid. So,
yeah, it's funny to see, because we really love, our athletes around here, and we want them, like everybody, we want them to be here for a million years. And he seems to be the type of fit that, everybody would want. He's a gym rat. He's keep his mouth closed. He's not, barking back and forth at the referees like you guys coach all the time,
For sure.
So he seems to be, kind of the right fit for what we're looking for. And we're,
sure.
although we're really bummed, Luka got booted, we kind of got a good gift out of this thing by it going down like that. So
yeah, definitely. I was shocked to see him though, being with Nike as long as he was with the Montverde and those schools and Duke. But I was super shocked to see him sign that New Balance
deal with New Balance. Yeah.
But he's maybe starting new waves. The kid's got the opportunity to do that. So it's probably a very hard decision. It's cool as part of his hometown and stuff like that. But sometimes you just got to take that chance.
Are you a shoe guy?
I love shoes. Yes.
What's the collection look like nowadays?
Ton of Jordan 3s, Jordan 1s. I've gotten to a couple of the new runners, bunch of Air Maxes.
Yeah.
It's majority all Nike.
Yeah. I imagine I'm kind of the same way. What's the number up on the collection to right now, Dad?
Probably about, I was just counting boxes up, 185 maybe, something like that. Yeah.
You got me beat by 100. Now I feel good now. So
yeah, no,
I'm going to tell my wife we got to get some more, because somebody got 185 on me already.
I'll tell you what, man, my wife is actually creeping up on me. I think she might have more than me, because I swear to God, they don't sit on the shelves anymore. They're sitting on the bottom of the floor of the closets, or in the living rooms.
Yeah. What's your favorite pair?
Probably the Jordan 1s. It's old. It's a classic. It's easy to wear.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so I've always loved those.
You got a colorway that you're looking for?
Colorway?
Yep.
I don't have a favorite colorway. Obviously the originals are amazing, but I do got a pair of these, like almost like, what could you call them, like North Carolina blue, black, and white, but they're patent leather.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're kind of trying to dress up a little bit, step out a little bit, they still look a nice shoe. Like I can throw those things on. Yeah.
When you're on the end of the bench over there, are you flexing with your shoes, or what are you doing?
Every game.
Every game, new pair. Every game.
every game.
Well, I mean, honestly, like that's really cool, because it's two parts. One, it's conversation starter. You know what I mean? It's really cool that you guys can do those things to where it. People really like that one you were wearing there, or where'd you get this from, or what's the story behind it? And you really, kind of crack the ice with a lot of people.
Yeah.
On the other thing too, it's like, it's fun for us as we get to try something new and bring something new to the table, or, search through another, journey of selecting the craziest kicks we've ever gotten before. It's like Christmas every day, right? So, but
yeah,
what's it like when you go on the road? Like, how often are you traveling to go to games?
When we're in the middle of the season, it's like we'll start off just with fall leagues, and we'll start in fall leagues September, October, and just do a bunch of home games here. And then once the season really starts, it really kicks off in November. We'll host our first home game here, do about 4 or 5 regular home games, and then we'll end up in Utah. Utah is usually our first stop for the West Coast. So we're part of the Nike EYBL Scholastic Leagues. With 20 teams in it all across the nation. There's a East Division and a West Division. We're part of the West Division. And so we'll get to cross over and play some different conference games and so forth. Like we'll be heading to Boston, not this weekend, but the following weekend, which will play 2 of the East Coast divisions, Link Academy out of Branson, Missouri, and Long Island Lutheran out of New York.
That's cool. So you guys have the East and the West. There's 10 aside. So everybody meets in Utah to play a tournament,
so they'll break some teams off to play on the West and some teams to play on the East. That'll be going on at the same time.
Yep.
And stuff like that. And then they'll also link them together with different kind of tournaments that you might have some regular public schools, high level matches with public schools like Millennium High School might be part of it. The Matha, just the prestigious high school local teams from that area and so forth.
So when you guys have the local games that are current to where you're at, like you said, you have 4 or 5 games coming up. Are you playing other AAU teams, or are you playing like high school teams, or what are you doing?
More in season. It's regular high school. There's no AAU. It's regular high school. Kids have to be enrolled at a school and go to the current school that you're playing for that team on. So it's regular high school rules. But we're part of the Scholastic League, and it's Nike that puts it on, and so Nike sets the schedule of where we go, and make sure that everything is taken care of on all our travel, all our food, all our charter buses, all our flights. It's all covered.
So here in Texas, we got it divided up by 1A, 2A, 3A, 5A, 6A, right?
Yeah.
Or Division 2, Division 1, whatever. Are you guys under the same format when it comes to that, or
no? Ours is more independent.
Your independence.
It's more independent. It's more definitely an independent league. With the Scholastics League, and right, the Scholastics League is handpicked by Nike.
Well, I mean, for high school in general.
Mm-hmm.
For high school, we have 5A, 6A, whatever, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
And so what I say is Nike's created a league. I'd say that trumps all of those 1As, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A schools, and so it'd be set at the very top of it. If it was a state associated school.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But the 4 to 5 games that you're saying you play against, you say it's the high school level, right?
Yeah.
Is that in the Nike, or is that you're playing against other
prep schools that are independent?
Other prep schools,
independent
schools.
So a lot of these prep schools that, they kind of take the mindset of what we wanted to do back in the day and when we first started this thing. And there's a bunch of them still out here trying to do that. And so we'll play those kind of guys to give them the opportunity to, see what kind of talent they have and what they want to compete with. That's how it's usually done.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I mean, there's very few of you guys. You guys have to travel the country to meet up to play similar talent. Now you're on the other side of it. You're not punching up. You're allowing others to punch up at you.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So warm-ups and scrimmages, and you're probably going to beat people by 20, 30, 40 points on certain nights. But at the end of the day, you need to get some run.
Yeah. And we've also built a tournament here locally. It's called Compass Classic after AZ Compass, and we'll host it. We'll have teams come in and fly in, and or local teams that will play in it, and you get a lot of good run in that as well.
Okay. Well, very cool. Well, what does AZ Compass stand for?
Arizona Compass Prep.
I mean, but what was kind of the mantra behind it? It's from A to Z. You're going a certain direction. Like, where are we at with that?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question. I wish I could answer it, but that's got to come from my mom because she's the one that founded the name. And I gotta ask her that. I don't know if I really actually asked her that. It's just been a staple in Arizona and across the nation for a minute now, Nice. But I like that. I know you've kind of been quoting that from A to Z.
From A to Z, Arizona. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, honestly, from the school part of it, you could just say it's, we cover all of this, right? So, didn't know if there was a hidden meaning or a double entendre behind it or whatever, but I thought it was clever, and I wanted to see if I can dig out of it. So shoot me a message. Let me know what Mom says.
Yeah, I definitely got to circle back with you on that one. Absolutely.
All right. So we're kind of getting down to the end here, but I'm going to, just kind of reach back out. What are the goals going forward?
Goals going forward, obviously, just to make sure that we can touch every kid that comes through our program. Show them and guide them in the right direction. How to be a good young man, good young woman. And just really just help them to succeed in whatever aspect of life that possibly is. Mm-hmm. More goals are just to continue. Like the number one goal for the basketball team this year is to win a national title through Chipotle National. Right, we've come very, very close. Came as a runner-up one year, a few years back. I feel like this team is we really have the team this year to do it. You know, we have the coaching staff for sure. We have a lot of good people on our circle that help guide us and help us to go where we want to go to right now. So it's been amazing. So that's it, man. That's some of the goals, and obviously we're going to continue to build. You know, we've brought in a football coach. His name's Jalen Strong, to build our football program. We want to build the football program out. He played for ASU and played for the Texans in the league for a little bit, and he's brought on a great staff of football guys, and he's really done a fantastic job of trying to mimic what the basketball has done. But he's got to run his own race, and you know, we've gone through our ups and downs with him, and he's staying the course. He's listening and he's learning, and so I think that program's really right in line to be right up next of playing really top talent. You know, next year for them is going to be really good. He's won the state title in Division III, I believe it is, for the CAA out here in Arizona. The last 2 years in a row. Last year he went undefeated. You know, didn't lose a game. So that's another goal, is to really build that program out. Third is our baseball team, coached and headed up by Junior Spivey. And Junior Spivey's kind of really come in here to help build that program as well, you know, on the national level. You know, he's got another guy helping him, Brett Jenkins, who's been working with us as a dean, but also has a professional background as well. And Bryant Nelson, who's another MLB guy who's also helped tee that thing up. And so they're really focused and heavy on getting the right kids in here, develop them, and these guys know all about development. The cool thing is, too, I didn't really talk about it, but the way our academics are set up, we do all our academics in the morning from 8 to 1:30. And then at 1:30, we break off and they go into their special. And their special, they're still getting credit for. But whether that's baseball, whether it's football, whether it's basketball or arts or whatever it is, it still works out. So parents aren't picking their kids up after school, taking them to practice somewhere else, or practicing to 7, 8 o'clock at night. It just doesn't work. You know, I want these kids to have a family life as well. So it's been working out really well.
You got a golf team on the future?
I hope so, man. I hope so. You can coach?
Yeah, we'll get you one. We'll get you one set up. We'll send one on down there. I'm sure there's a lot there in Arizona. I mean,
I'm scared playing as you, man. You whoop me.
Well, I'll say this: we can go down there and have a good time. You guys have a course on every street corner, so
that's true. That's very true. I'm still not good.
Hey, we can go out there and have a good time. That's all that matters.
That's what's up.
Honestly, though, I really do appreciate you coming on and talking to us and telling us a little bit more about this. And if you want to tell everybody in the audience, like, where they can find you, how they can find out more information about your school or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, our charter management company is skylineschools.com is the website. Our basketball program, AZ Compass Prep, AZ Compass Prep Hoops, is the Instagram and Twitter. Just look up AZ Compass basketball, or just AZ Compass in general in Google. It'll pull up for you for sure. And really do appreciate you taking the time to have me on here, share a little bit about our story here at AZ Compass and Skyline Education. I'm super grateful and thankful, man.
100%. No, it's really cool. You guys have one of the best stories that we've probably ever done, for someone just literally pulling themselves up with the bootstraps and sticking to a dream. So I really am proud of you guys. And man, you are a really humble cat that I'm really proud to call friend. So
yeah, right back at you, brother.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thanks for coming on. 100%.
Thank you so much.
Well, until next time, everyone, that's the blueprint.